The wall we're going to be lining is this wall here. From here to here, top to bottom, right up to the picture rail. What I've done, I've already cut 2 sheets of lining paper to size, and I'll show you with an overlap and an overlap there. Okay, so everything measured and cut the size, and what I'm now going to do is use them as a template. So you can see these two when they go together. They're the same at this end. This wall requires 1, 2, 3, 4 lengths. I've already got 2 lengths on the table, and I'm going to show you how to cut the other 2. Now remember, we're using this as a template, so as you unroll the lining paper, as you can see, there's a curl to it. Now, this is the inside, and this is the outside. This is the side the paste goes on. It's easy to find out which is the in and which is the out. I wet my finger with some water, and if you just rub it gently on the inside of the paper, it becomes very furry, and this is to hold on to the paste when the paste is applied on the inside. And the outside, it does not become furry because this is the side that needs to take the paint. So don't forget, I'm using this one as a template all the way to the end. You can crease the paper, mark it, and then cut it with a piece of scissors. I've got used to doing this, using a straight edge spirit level, resting it in one position, pushing down on where you want it to cut, holding the top end of the lining paper and pulling it up, your hands up to your chin. So by going up like so, you have now cut your paper. Now, because lining paper has no pattern, instead of starting at that end and coming back here, you can now just turn the paper around like so, and then go back in the opposite direction. When I cut the one at that end, because I'm right-handed, this is for you left-handers, I'm pulling the paper up to your chin, and that's it. Now, as you can see, when lining paper has just been cut, it's got a spring to it. By placing your 2 hands on the lining paper, just pulling it back like so, and then curling it back up on itself. Cut the scrunchies, and when you lay it down, it's because lining paper should always be hung horizontal, so it's lying down. I put a line, a straight edge line, going from this end to this end, and this is going to be my guide. This is the width of the lining paper, and I have measured and marked the distance slightly shorter, which is 10 millimeters from here to here, which is slightly longer. So basically, when I hang the lining paper, I will hang it onto this line, which means it's going to overlap on the picture rail, so that allows me to cut it to fit. Because if this picture rail is wonky and it's not straight, you need enough lining paper so that you can trim to the picture rail, and that will then allow you to have a nice neat straight line at the end. And I will demonstrate and show you. What I now need to do is paste all my lining paper up. Traditionally, you would normally use a pasting brush to carry out this task. On this occasion, because of the amount and the area that needs to be covered, I am going to be pasting my 4 sheets of lining paper with a roller. Now this is my pasting table, and as you can see, the paper is slightly shorter in width than the table. Now to keep the paste off the table and to protect the table, you slide all your lining paper just slightly over the edge. The paper that you're going to be working with, you pull towards you. Because I'm right-handed, I pull the majority of the paper to the left and I start from the right. And my bucket is on the right. If I was left-handed, I would be shuffling all the paper to the left. My bucket and my support will come from the left. So, ready to roll. Now, here's my roller. The normal, traditional roller that you would use with paint is now going to be used to apply the paste. And with the paste, you get a nice, even finish with the roller. Right, now the fold that you need to fold and hang it cross-line is called a concertina fold. A concertina fold is like so. Using the palm of your hands inside, like so. So this is not working harder, this is called working smarter. And this is called a concertina fold. Now to protect the pasting table from this end, you bring the last bit over to here. By putting the width of your hand in, when it stops, you create the fold. There you go, and the last piece, like so, and wrap it round. Right, now that we've pasted up our first two pieces, concertina fold, as you can see it looks like that once it's done. We now need to hang it. So when I now hang my first piece, I take it to the line. Then hanging brush, side to side. Because this is the piece we're going to cut off, we're going to cut that piece off as well. With the concertina fold, you just let one fold go at a time. And it's very important to push the air out, upwards or down. That way you don't get no air bubbles in your paper. Remember, this is the concertina fold. It allows you to hang your paper on big areas while still keeping you in control. And then the last piece comes over. So we've got overhang at the top, just squeezing the lining paper into the corner on the edge of the picture wrap. And you can come along like so and mark it. And then you come along and cut it after. The other way, if you're feeling brave enough, because you have pushed the paper into the corner, you can see that there's a crease on it, and you can literally just hold it like so and cut along the crease. There's a possibility that the paper could fall off the wall when you do it this way, because as you can see, you're removing it from the wall slightly. Use the edge of the scissors, which creates a mark. Now I'm up high enough. I now don't have to pull the majority of the paper off the wall. And then you go back with your hanging brush, smoothing your nice edge that's been cut to fit. Right, now we come to our second piece, and what you now need to do with your second piece is you need to slide it in, and it needs to butt against your first piece. So as you can see, it butts against. Now that is a perfect joint. What you don't want to do is put it on top, because that's called overlap, and you can feel an edge. Slide it in and you butt your joint like so. All you need to do is just run your fingers up and down, and if you cannot feel a ridge, then you have done a good job. And then just gently use the brush just to smooth it down to get it in position. And now you've got that in position, that then now allows you to come this way, and at the same time checking that you do not have an overlap. This is called a seam roller, and it literally presses the seam together. And this is how you operate a seam roller. And you only use the seam roller when the two pieces are joined together and they've been butted. You wouldn't use the seam roller on this one because it has no paper to support it yet, and what you'll now do is flatten that edge. But what you actually want to do is bond the two edges together with a seam roller, and it also does your corners as well. First things first, let's get the paper up. Don't forget, this is just the crease where the paste has soaked into the paper, and as the paper dries, as you can see, they disappear. Now, if you have put your paste on too thickly on your paper, and you notice there is the odd little lumps, that is the paste, and as it dries, they will all disappear. Flatten the edge. There you go. Right, once you've used your seam roller on your joints, just some nice cold water, nice clean sponge. Just take the majority of the water off, and all you're now going to do is you're just going to go around cleaning the excess paste off your paper. So you literally, if there's any paste on your paper, you're just taking it off, as if the paste is allowed to stay on the paper, whether it's a pattern paper or it's lining paper, it actually stains. You'll get a yellow stain mark on the paper, and once it dries, it becomes a little bit difficult to take it off. And don't be afraid to let the water touch the paper, because the paper is actually porous, and porous means that it can breathe. It's got tiny little holes in the paper, not seen to the naked eye, and because it's porous, it can breathe, and believe it or not, the water for the paper is good. Thank you for joining us on how to line a wall. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next